This has been a big week as we've been focusing on how to rebuild your confidence to lead again by planting those seeds of confidence that we've been talking about. Now, to recap, Monday, we looked at the confidence seed of creating new habits of winning so that you start to expect to win again. Tuesday, we discussed the confidence seed of boundaries, starting with boundaries within your own self-leadership. Wednesday, I challenge you even more to plant and nurture the seed of confidence found in up-leveling your self-care, coming at it from an angle much deeper than you may have considered before. And yesterday, I shared about a powerful seed that's truly transformative when you plant it at the right time and in the right ways. And that's the confidence seed of facing your fears. Now, this day, today, we're going to be wrapping up this whole week by looking at one more seed of confidence, an inspiring vision for your life. Now, I realize that depending on where you're at in your journey, you may not be ready yet to plant this seed. You may need to heal and rest first so you can refill your inner reserves and regroup and gain fresh perspective. That's perfectly fine. You can reach out to me at hello@AnnetteChesney.com and I can help you with what that path looks like. Just know, however, that there's going to come a point when this particular seed of confidence needs to be planted. Because if you don't plant this seed sooner or later, you're going to realize that you've been missing out on the bigger picture. Because there's a heck of a lot more that God has for you. You're not even remotely done. There's so many more exciting chapters of your story that have yet to be written. And you get to have a big hand in writing that story and directing where that goes. Now, Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." Now, in every epic story, there's a main character who's the hero of that particular story. And this hero has not yet stepped into their true calling, which is the point of the whole story. It's why we watch these epic movies, right? And by the way, a shout out to Donald Miller and StoryBrand who opened my eyes to this framework. It's so good. And I love movies. So it just really resonated with me. So here we are back with this hero now. And that hero was just going about their life, minding their own business when something happens and it changes everything. Thus, their journey and their epic story really begins. Now, the story also has a villain that opposes the hero's mission. And there's plot twists and tragedies and there's surprises along the hero's path. The hero also has a guide that calls them to step up, to become more than they currently are. The guide challenges them to accomplish something great. So with that rough, framework that I just went through very quickly, with that in mind, let's remember that, first of all, certainly God is the ultimate hero. He's our hero. And no doubt in the bigger context of the story of all stories involving us all, he absolutely is the hero that we look up to. But for our purposes with what we're doing right now, let's focus on your story. And in your story, as the way we're framing this, you're the hero of this story. And you were just going about your days totally naive with what you were about to face. Along comes the narcissist who likely entered your story like a wolf in sheep's clothing, right? They all do. That narcissist played the villain, maybe out of their own fears and insecurities and using you for selfish purposes, or in many cases, sadly, tragically, they were even more sinister because they were knowingly and deliberately using and abusing you. Either way, you're left with some stuff, right? But in your story, you also have a guide. Now, of course, your guide, God, ultimately, his name is Jesus, and he's been watching you. He's been calling to you. He's been helping you in ways that you haven't yet even fully comprehended. And might I add, in the natural realm, you may also have a coach like me as a guide in your story too. And the guide is so important for the story, not because the guide's the hero. You're the hero. This is your story. But the guide is the one who's there helping you make sense of what's been confusing you. The guide calls you to rise above things, that are more than what they appear to be right now. The guide calls you to a greater purpose. The guide provides you with pivotal insights and wisdom to help you overcome the challenges you're facing. The guide is going to challenge you and call you out right in the moment when you need it. Now, in this exciting and epic story, the hero is transformed in every way by the journey itself. Now, bear in mind that we all wish we didn't have a villain in our story, right? But that's not a good story. Even the villain plays a role because their actions are a catalyst of this transformation. It's a hard and messy and difficult journey, just like yours has been. But the ending is glorious. Think of the movies you've watched. Think of Lord of the Rings and think of all these movies that are so awesome, that are just like you're holding your breath and the hero's going through the ups and downs and all these things. And you're watching this character throughout the movie grow and change and become stronger and gain in wisdom. And they truly step into the mantle of a hero. And there's something magnificent in them that's developed, but also in what they do. It's a glorious ending. Now, you are that hero, as you might have imagined, that's being transformed and unveiled. And I am certain that there's a compelling vision that you may not even yet know about. But there's been a lot of clues along the way. Satan is the ultimate spiritual villain. Satan's also the original narcissistic psychopath, right? And the way in which he worked through others to steal, kill, and destroy something in you may actually be a clue to the hidden glory God placed in you for a future kingdom purpose. Let that sink in for a minute. It gives purpose to your struggles when you can really wrap your head around that. Are you ready to find an inspiring vision for your life? It's going to involve your self-leadership. It's going to involve influencing others for good, as you might have imagined. And sometimes this compelling vision unfolds itself one piece at a time. Let me rephrase that. Not sometimes, always. It's going to unfold itself one piece at a time. And if we're willing and we're ready to work on ourselves and move into the next chapter, we're going to step into the next piece on the path to what that vision is. So what do you think? Are you ready for this step? Do you know what you need to do to become ready? Do you know the signs to look for? You need a compelling vision. It's that purpose. It's a reason to write a new chapter in your life. And you also need a map to get you on the right path. Psalm 37:4 says, "Take delight in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart." Now, here's the part we don't realize. We love that idea. We want the desires of our heart. But a lot of times we have to change and grow to be ready to receive the desires of our heart so that we don't misuse those things, right? So we go through a growth. And God says that he takes all things and works them together for the good of those who love him and are called according to his purpose. So that means even the bad things, even the things that your spiritual enemy may be working through someone else through across your path, that steal, kill, and destroy in your life that scripture speaks up and that I mentioned to you earlier. But I promise you, there's so much more waiting for you. There's coming a day when you'll look back over your journey and it's all going to make sense. You'll marvel in gratitude at how God tied it all together into something beautiful. And when that day comes, you're going to look back over your journey and you're going to say to yourself, totally worth it. Now, I can help you with a map for all this, if you like. So email me and let's chat about it. My email address is hello@AnnetteChesney.com. Now, join us again on Monday for a new 5-part series to start your mornings. We'll be talking about how to set your heart free to be happy again. Now, be sure to like, subscribe, and share this episode so others can find this podcast too. And don't forget to check out our show description because I've got some links in there for some great helpful resources for you. Keep going because your best truly is yet to come. I'll see you next week.